Adding the crown race, and then the bearing chamfer side up. Feed it through, and then we've got the upper bearing chamfer facing down with the whatever this is called bearing on top. This guy here, 10mm spacer, 5mm spacer, and I've already pre-measured the distance from the dropout to the handlebar, and this is how I know how many spacers I need. And last but not least, the handlebar. Compress that nice and firm, and there you have the height. Now, to get adequate compression, basically this will be down here. So what we'll need to do is, if we draw the line here, we'll need to cut about 5mm below that line to get adequate compression once the top cap assembly is on, right? So in order to have enough compression, we've got to draw the line here. But if we draw the line here and this rests on top, there won't be any compression. So we've got to drop it by this distance, whatever this distance is, and then maybe another thickness of this, so double this thickness below this line, and then you'll get your adequate compression so that the top cap will pull at the expander plug. Okay, so this is about 2.7mm, 2.7, so I'd say about double that, about 5.4, maybe 6mm below this line. Okay, so we'll draw the line. Okay, so we've got our line here where we marked just above the handlebar. Now I'm going to slide this old stem on the fork, and we'll use this to cut. And basically what we've got here is we needed to cut about almost 5mm below this line, right? So I've actually got this spacer, one of the spacers, and I'll be using that just to mark right here. There we have it. Now shimmy this up, and that's about 5mm below that line, and I think we can use that as reference, and that should be good enough. And we'll draw our final cutting marking line right here. That will give us enough distance below the expander plug, and this will allow enough compression of the top cap. So 5mm below the actual line. I think that's good enough. And now we'll cut right here actually. So let me move that down slightly just so we can have an actual cutting line like so. So we'll go ahead and cut on this line. All right, let's go ahead and cut this thing. Alright, so we've cut the excess steer tube, and now we just have to do some post-processing on sanding down this portion because it's a bit rough. Okay, now that it's sanded down, as you can see here, we'll go ahead and seal it off with a bit of super glue. I know that some people use nail polish remover, but I am going to go ahead and use some super glue. It's pretty ghetto. And go ahead and wipe it around, seal it. Make sure there's no excess that's going to take up room. And I think it should be good and sealed. As you can see, there is quite a bit of space there. Now once I put the expander plug in, it sits just below the surface of the handlebar, maybe about 2 to 3 millimeters, which is perfect. And once I assemble this, basically it will be pulling the expander plug and fork headset assembly up, and that way it'll keep it tight. And I'll install this, tighten it up slightly, finger tight, and then I'll be able to, there'll be enough compression in the whole headset and fork. And then I'll go ahead and tighten these up. So it's a win. That's the way to do it.